Jimmy, first of all then, is it fair to say that we have seen the end of Chelsea as we have come to know it?
It looks like it. I think so. I remember the days that I signed for Chelsea for Mr. and Mr. Bates, who owned the club at the time. We were training at Harlington. We didn't own a training ground. 3 years later, the club was sold. Trevor Burge came to the training ground with Mr. Abramovich. And he spoke about that he wanted to take the club to the biggest ever. And here we are now, with all these things going on.
Was it a special club then, when you first joined?
It was already, because we had players like Poyet, Dennis Wise, Massa Desai, trying to win the league. We were still so far away from Man United at the time and Arsenal at the time. We couldn't get the gap. When we were playing against them in single matches, we would be able to match them and beat them. But we were not consistent enough because we didn't have, the team really for it. And when Abramovich came, all that changed. Whatever you say, all that changed.
Jamie, we all have so many questions about what Chelsea is going to look like next season, years from now. Their own supporters trust have talked about there being a sustainable future for the club. What might that look like?
Who knows what the future is going to bring for Chelsea? It's certainly not in the government's interest to run this club into the ground. There's too much riding on it, too many jobs will be lost, too much joy for so many people. Football's always been escapism, and that's why we love it. The fact that you can go to football, forget about everything else that's going on in your life. Now, the club under Roman Abramovich has been hugely successful, and I expect there will be 5-6 billionaires that are going to want to buy this club and get it to the level it was before and put the money in. It might be more careful, but there are enough people with enough of an ego to want to buy this football club and maybe try and do better than what Roman Abramovich has done. It won't be easy because its success on the pitch was unprecedented, but it's right what the government are doing in terms of the sanctions. It's the only way to go, and that's what they feel is the next step for the club. But what I will say is, get it done sooner rather than later, because it's not good for anybody. As people with it, obviously with their jobs, etc. Nothing compared to what's happening in the Ukraine, but there's a lot of good people at that football club that run the academy, that work behind the scenes, that Jimmy will well know. The quicker this is done, the better for everybody concerned.
Give us an idea of what the mood might be like right now in the Chelsea dressing room, Micah.
Yeah, there will be uncertainty with contracts and where your future's going to be. But I have to give enormous credit to the players and the way they've handled themselves. On the pitch, it looks like there's nothing going on behind the scenes. And I can only talk about that. It's difficult to see what's happening in Ukraine. But look, we're not politicians. We talk as footballers. And I can only commend the footballers in a Chelsea dressing room, because on the pitch they've been outstanding.